boy, this is fun. I am sorry to the 4 people watching me send a text, send a tweet. Okay, hello everybody. Welcome to my first ever live play of an RPG. First ever live play of anything. I hope everyone can hear me okay. I have 3 different monitors I'm looking at right now, so I'm trying to keep an eye on the chat stream. I got another thing up there, and then I have my browser. So let's talk about what we're going to do tonight. Tonight we're going to play a solo RPG by Travis Hill. So this is live on Kickstarter right now. In fact, it's almost not live on Kickstarter. In about 12 hours it ends. It's a zine of 5, as he says, mostly solo RPGs. And I thought it'd be fun to play one tonight. Travis is a great guy. It should go without saying, this is not a sponsored stream. I just thought it would be fun, and since his Kickstarter's wrapping up, I thought we'd do it. I'll try to keep my eye on the chat. Like I said, I'm looking at a lot of different things. But let's just run through this real quick. So this is, like I said, a solo RPG. He calls it a solitaire journaling experience. I don't know that I'm necessarily going to be writing a lot of the letters tonight, but I thought maybe we could run through 1 or 2 scenarios. So he calls this a cozy game. So the idea is that you're writing letters to your friend who likes to read books, and you are a bookbinder. And as you're binding all these new books, you're writing to your friend to tell him about it. So first we got to pick the name of our friend. Let's see, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. There's 9 choices here. My random number generator for tonight is this gigantic die that I picked up. I don't know when, but let's see. First roll will be to decide which column to do. Column 1. And now we'll roll to see which of the names to do. 3, Rosto. So let's, whoops. 4, there we go. All right, so let's see. Name of friend is Rosto. This is Dynalist, an outlining program that I love a lot, and I highly recommend it. It's Dyna, like dynamite, dynalist.io. This is sponsored. No, it's not. Okay, so now we got to figure out what kind of literature Rosto likes. If I roll a 1 or a 2, it's exciting. Roll a 3 or a 4, it's contemporary. Hi, Daryl. Hi, Ada. Hello, everyone, for joining us. And if I roll 5 or 6, it's imaginative. Travis, if you're watching, I got a bone to pick with you. Who says contemporary literature can't be exciting or imaginative? All right, let's give it a roll. 2, which is exciting. So I'm imagining like maybe some pulp fiction, some cheap paperbacks. I don't know. All right, so let's make a note that Rosto likes exciting literature. Is it literature? It's books. All right. Okay. So now every week I'm going to write a letter to my friend. And the way that works, is that first we roll a die and we add 2 to it, and that's the number of cards. So you need a deck of cards to play this game. I'm using these medallion cards that my friend Phil got me for Christmas many years ago. Phil, you're not watching, but if you are, hey, bud. And so every week you roll a die. I'm going to roll a die again. And I got 4. And then you go 4 plus 2 is 6. And so I deal out 6 cards, which I'm going to do right now. And you deal it out into as many stacks as you want. You could do 6 stacks. You could do 4 stacks. You could do 2 stacks. You could just do 1 stack. So I'm just going to kind of let the spirit guide me here. Let's see. I have 3 stacks so far. I think for this first one, I'm going to stick with 3. So the number of stacks you do is the number of books you have to write about, or get to write about. So have 3 stacks here, each of 2 cards each. Now I could have gone 1 and 1 and 4 and another. You know, you can do whatever you want. It's a solo RPG. It's an indie solo RPG. Rules don't matter, man. Just do whatever you want. Who cares? Okay, so I have 3 books that I am totally engrossed with, and I'm going to write a letter to my friend telling him about how much I like these books. In fact, I'm going to make the first stack have 3 cards. First stack has 3 cards. Second stack has 2 cards, and the last stack just has 1 card. Now, it seems that your friend's a bit of a snob, so they're not really interested in all the books you're interested in, but you are a voracious reader. So you're reading all sorts of things, and you love all of it, and you want to tell them about it. I don't know that I'm necessarily going to be writing a big synopsis for each one, but I thought it might be kind of fun just to kind of riff a little on each one. So let's talk about how these books are described. And I thought this was a very clever bit on Travis's part. The way you do it is you take these cards. Oh, let me point out real quick that this system is based on another solo RPG. I think it's a letter writing one called Once Upon a Time. Is that what it's called? Hold on, guys. One Day at a Time. And that seems like a lot of fun, too. In researching this Twitch stream, I looked into it, and it looks really cool. We'll probably do it one night as well. Okay, so the way this works is first, for each book, I got to date my journal entry. So let's go ahead and just do real quick. So this will be my friend. Hi, friend. And we'll just call it Journal Entry 1. Boy, did you guys think you'd end this evening just watching me do a little data entry? How fun for everybody. Actually, because I'm a huge outliner geek, let's do it like this. Okay. So, dear Rosto, now I'm going to roll a die again. I got a 2. So this first book is fantastical. Now, these cards that I drew give plot elements. Okay? And so that 2 I rolled means it's going to be a fantastical book. And so now let's go to the chart. See what it is. So hearts are characters. So a 3 of hearts. Oh gosh. Elohor Ardmanu. Let's go ahead and copy that and paste it over here. Boop. And actually this should be, let's see, boop. Book 1. Okay. And let's go ahead and zoom on into book 1 there. So that's that character. And then the next thing I have here is the 2 of diamonds. Thank you, Daryl. And the next game I have, or the next card I have here is 2 of diamonds. So diamonds are locations. And so the 2 of diamonds is the smoldering remains of a building. And let's go ahead and put that over here. And let's kind of name this for what it is. Fantastical. Okay. And then the third card I have here is the Jack of Clubs. And the Jack of Clubs is the theme. And nature's fight to overcome humankind. Boop. So if I was playing the game for real, and who's to say I'm not playing the game for real, what I would then do is take these 3 bits of information and create a letter to my friend Rosto. And it would probably go a little something like this. Dear Rosto, you're not going to believe this incredible book I just read. It's a fantasy. I know you're not crazy about fantasy, but I think you'd really like this one. It's called, I should have come up with a theme, or should have come up with the title. It's called Soon All of This Will Be Picturesque Ruins, which I will admit I stole from an artist in the 80s. And let me tell you a little bit about what it's about. The main character is named Elohor Ardmanu, and he takes place, or he lives after the fall of humanity. And please, if anyone wants to help me out in the chat, I would appreciate that. Oh, in fact, Karen has already chipped in and said that Elohor could be an arsonist, an arson investigator, or just a charred corpse. I like arson investigator. So, Rasta, let me get back to what I was saying. After the fall of civilization, small communities have banded together and have grown to the point that they have their own police force. And suddenly, mysterious fires have been cropping up all over their compound. And it's up to Detective Elohor Ardmanu to find out what's going on. But that's just the plot of the book. What the book's really about, though, is about nature's fight to overcome humankind. Is there really an arsonist, or is it just nature trying to reclaim the earth away from these last few survivors? It almost cleansed us off the face of the earth, but maybe now nature can finish the job. Is that what's going on? Or is there something more sinister? Well, Rosto, I'm not going to tell you the answer. You'll have to find out for yourself when you read Soon All of This Will Be Picturesque Ruins. So that's the first book. If I go back here, so now we have only 2 cards for the second book. Anyway, did you guys enjoy that? I thought it was pretty fun. Book 2. And I should point out, the Kickstarter, this is only 1/5 of the Kickstarter. You get 4 others as well, including, I think, at least one that you can play with other people, maybe more. Let's see. So now, let's see. To do another journal entry, I got to roll my die. I got a 2 again, so I'm going to roll it again. I got a 3, Noir. Now that's actually, you guys don't know this, that's actually my favorite. That's actually my favorite genre is noir, so that'll be fun. Let's see. Karen says, 100-year-old smoldering peat fires coming back up above ground, and nature using man's own foolishness as a weapon. I love it. Karen, you're promoted. Okay. So my 2 cards for this are both the 8 and 9 of spades. So we haven't actually had spades yet. Let's see what we got. Moods. Big moods. 8 and 9. Comfortable, full, lighthearted, and whimsical. So somehow, okay, let's see here. So somehow, I hope I'm doing this right. Let's see. Yeah, I think so. Okay. So book 2 is noir. And the themes are comfortable and full. Thank you, Dara. And the other themes, by this time next year, it'll be like mascara, and that'll be it. I won't even be covering my eyes at that point. And the other theme, does anyone remember what it is? Lighthearted and whimsical. And whimsical. There we go. Okay, so somehow I have to create a noir that's comfortable and full and lighthearted and whimsical. You know, the qualities that every noir novel is known for. It's whimsy and it's lightheartedness. So we don't really have a whole lot to go here. Karen suggests The Far Side meets a Peanuts rendition of A Dark and Stormy Night. I really like that. So let me see here what I can do. So let me think. Dear Rosto, thank you once again for accepting my letters, recommending different books to you here at my bookbinding business. I just read the greatest book. I think you're going to love it. It's a noir book, but it's not a plot boiler. It's not a pot boiler. It just has certain themes in common with a noir. It's clearly based on Animal Crossing, although for obvious reasons they can't say that. But it takes place on a whimsical little island full of stuffed animals, living stuffed animals who have created a cute, charming little society. And then one day, the stand-in for Tom Nook contacts the main character about a theft of some raspberries. And our main character, who is a stuffed ghost, like a Casper-like character. Again, they can't say that. Has to go all over the island investigating everyone he can find who looks comfortable or full, as though they just ate an entire bushel of raspberries. And it's basically a detective novel. There are dead ends. There are red herrings. There is actually a literal red herring, a character that's a stuffed herring colored red. I thought that was very clever. And it's interesting, especially because all the characters are essentially good, no one's lying. It's really fascinating to build a mystery around characters who always tell some version of the truth. I don't usually spoil the ending, but I think on this one I will tell you that this sounds like an unsatisfying ending, but it turns out the raspberries were just misplaced. So it was a happy ending, and everyone on the island gets to share some raspberries at the end. And that was a book called Animal Double Crossing. And I think it's really great, and I think you're going to love it. So there we go. So let's see who's in the chat. So we've been talking to Karen. That's at Game Biologist. She is fantastic. You should follow her. She got a mention of me retweeted by Gail Simone today. Was that just today? And she is probably the only person in the world, who's employed to create games for a state wildlife commission. Really fascinating. We also have Daryl with one R. I've big upped Daryl so many times. He's such a great guy to follow on Twitter. I don't know his @ I'm sorry. There's like 4 Daryls that I talk to a lot. And we have Widow Howl app, at Widow Howl app, aka Dara. So fantastic. If you guys follow me, you probably already follow her, so you don't need to hear about that. Let's go ahead and do my third book. We only have one card, and that is the 8 of Clubs. And so what does an 8 of Clubs do? Well, first we have to figure out the genre, right? All right, I got a 6. And a 6 is... a 6 is a drama. So let's get that written in. Book 3 is a drama. And all I have for it is the 8 of Clubs. And clubs are themes. Oh, you know what? Hey guys, I'm I don't know if you know this, but I'm an expert card player. And as such, I apparently mixed up spades and clubs last time, didn't I? No, I didn't. I'm fine. Never mind. Edit this part out. Producer, if you're watching, edit this part out, please. Please kick everyone who's currently in. Okay. That's Gman94024. That is hilarious. But I'm going to block you. Just kidding. Spades are moods again. No, I'm already on spades. Clubs are themes. There we go. 8 of Clubs. Finding fulfillment in love. Well, I don't know how I could write about that because that is not... So, the third book is a drama about finding fulfillment in love. It's not a ton to go on. I bet if Travis is watching, he would say that I could just pull another card to get flesh out a little bit more about it. But I think I'll stick with the rules as they're written. Okay, thank you, G-Man. I appreciate it. A drama about finding fulfillment in love. So, one thing I really like, I'm going to go on a bit of a tangent here, and I apologize to all the trolls in the chat who will attack me for this. But, by the way, I was late to streaming because I was trying to make my ridiculous pandemic mustache curl up. I don't know if it's obvious on camera. Also, thanks to our sponsor, Diet, caffeine-free Crystal Light. Yeah, I agree, Karen, that it does sound like a YA chart topper. But I was going to go on a tangent here, and I was going to say that I've always said that the pieces that were most successful were either things that took a really conventional story and told them in a really unconventional way or used an unconventional setting. So, for example, if you're into anime, FLCL, Fooly Cooly, at first blush seems like this totally wild anime. It's all these different styles and everything else. But when you finish it, you realize it's actually a pretty conventional coming-of-age story. Now, if the story had been wild and the style had been wild, it would just been this total who knows what. And then I think successful stories are also the opposite as well. I think unconventional stories need to be told in a very conventional style so that they are understandable. So, thank you. So, someone suggested I make it a sequel to my short story Concrud, which, if you are interested in reading that, you go to my Twitter profile and you'll see the where it has a link, and that's a link to a story. It's something I wrote last year, and it takes place after a pandemic. A little prescient there, unfortunately. Yikes. So okay, let's run with that. Let's say this is a sequel that takes place in a world where everyone lives at home 24/7, almost 365. When they go out, they go out in very, 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 very rarely, and only if absolutely necessary. Otherwise, they do everything online. Everything's delivered via drone. Having said that, they do go outside because obviously they can be outside. Everyone's outdoors enthusiast these days. So maybe that's how two people find each other. Maybe they're hiking and are able to run into each other one day. I did think there's so much I cut out of this short story. And a lot of it actually was about how people met each other. I made a joke in one of the, almost right to the last draft, about how the teenagers would rebel by getting together and having house parties in abandoned houses. And one of the really popular things on YouTube was called the Makeout Challenge. Like, will you kiss someone without knowing what their, what antibodies they're carrying? So this book is a drama that takes. Well, let's do this right. Hey, let me respect Travis's creation here and do this right. Dear Rosto, I have another book to tell you about. I really think you're going to like it. It hits a little close to home these days, in that it takes place after a pandemic. But this is a pandemic that killed 70% of the world's population, 75%. And now everyone lives sealed away in their homes and gets everything delivered by drone or via the internet. But it's about two young people who grew up in these really sheltered conditions, finding love and finding fulfillment in love. In this society, dating and everything is done online. And a lot of times, when you go to meet someone, you have a pathogen profile. You upload a drop of your blood into your med scanner, and it says if you're compatible with this person's immunities or not. But these are two people who meet the old-fashioned way. They were both out hiking, and they discover that they live, in developments backing up to each other. And so they start meeting once a week on this trail, staying apart from each other, of course. And it's a drama. And so, of course, a lot of things try to get in their way. Their families don't approve. Society doesn't approve. It's almost disgusting these days, the idea of meeting someone in person first. It's irresponsible. It's reckless. But eventually, they move on. They get to know each other. And they find fulfillment in love. It's a great book. I think you'll like it. It's not very long. And that's it. That's all the books I have to tell you about this week, Rosto. I hope you've enjoyed them. I hope you actually go out and get them. I suspect you don't. You and I have a very fraught relationship, very passive-aggressive relationship. I don't know why you're not interested in the... I don't know why you're not interested in the first thing about me and my life, but there we go. Dara, yes, I'm sorry to subject you to hiking content. I apologize. I will try to do better in the future. I promise. So let's go ahead. Let's do one more day. So you're supposed to play until the entire deck of cards is empty, or until you want to stop, like a lot of these. So let's just go ahead and do one more day. But I think this is super fun. Okay, I'm going to roll again. I got a 1. And 1 plus 2 is 3. So I only have 3 cards. So why don't we do one mega book? Maybe we'll do more than just one. 1, 2, 3. I'm putting those there. Now, let me get my journal up to date here. So that's journal entry 1. Here's journal entry 2. And book 1 is going to be, I rolled a 3. I think we've had a 3, haven't we? 3 is North. So I'm actually going to roll again until I get one that we haven't done. I got a 1, an adventure book. So, adventure. Did I do that? Yep. Okay. And so now I have 3 cards, and let's take a look at what it is. All right, first thing I have is the Queen of Diamonds. And the diamond is a location, and the queen is a rocky outcropping on a volcanic mountain. Let's add that in there. Good. And then the Queen of Spades is my next card. And spades are moods. And so this is a loving and joyous... What in the world? Loving and joyous adventure novel set on a rocky outcropping on a volcanic mountain. Finally, we got a 5 of clubs here. And the theme is someone's struggle against nature. Now, you guys are a lot smarter than me, but so I bet you're already thinking about this. But I feel like what this tells me, I think I can already go ahead and get started. Let me take a drink here of tonight's sponsor. I should just do like a fake it till you make it thing and just like pretend all my streams are sponsored. Do like crazy overlays. Okay. Hey, Rosto, I only have one book to recommend you this time, but man, it is a corker. You're going to love it. It's an adventure novel. I know you love adventure novels. Sort of a Indiana Jones, like an old 30s serial. But actually, it's actually a little closer to Romancing the Stone. In fact, it should actually be called Romancing the Stone because most of the novel takes place on a stone. It takes place on a rocky outcropping on a volcanic mountain that's about to erupt at any minute. And so our two lovers they're not lovers in the beginning, of course. In fact, they're rivals. They're stuck on this stone, I'm sorry. Yes, exactly. Joe versus a volcano. They're stuck on this stone on the side of a volcanic mountain, trying to find out how to get down before the volcano explodes. It's gripping. It's a page turner. It's, as I said before, a plot boiler. and they continuously struggle against nature, not just nature, but their own human nature as they slowly fall in love. But there's a lot of action, a lot of adventure, a lot of romance. You're going to love it. And I really hope you're reading these letters. I never hear anything back from you. They just get, I don't know. It's like I'm throwing them in the Rosto hole. Okay? I mean, been friends for like 20 years, and I don't know why. I don't know what I have to do at this point. Okay, so that was day 2. So like I said, I only did one book. Let's just do another day, and then we'll call it a day. All right. It's interesting that you're writing in your journal to Rosto. You would think you'd be writing letters. I wonder if there's some interesting backstory there. Like I just send my entire journal. Could you imagine if somebody sent you their entire journal? It was like, hey, I was going to write you a letter. hey, I was going to write you a letter. And I decided to just fill up this entire 500-page journal and send it to you instead. I hope you enjoy it. That's a good twist, Karen. I like that. Or I'm sorry, not Karen, Ada. All right, roll the die one more time. We got a 5. 5 plus 2 is 7. I'm going to do 2 books. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, and 7. Okay. So, let's find out what the first book is going to be. Which is another dice roll. We got a 1. And 1 is the one we just had, right? So why don't we do, for these last 2 books, let's do the 2 we haven't done. We haven't done a romance, although I guess we kind of just did, and a science fiction. That's great, Karen. Let me see what this book is going to be about. Let's say it's a science fiction novel. And then we'll end with romance, as always. I will accept any and all compliments on my typing. So the first thing we got is 4 spades. 4 spades is peaceful and graceful, like me. The next one is 5 of diamonds. And the 5 of diamonds is a hospital for the long-term care of the sick. Okay. And then another location is the 7 of diamonds here, which is an overgrown park on the outskirts of town. Okay. Peaceful, graceful, and overgrown park. Those work out really well together. Hospital for long-term care of the sick. Okay, something's starting to come together here. It's a science fiction book. Okay. Hey, Rosto. I have another letter for you with another couple books I want to tell you about. The first one's science fiction. I seem to remember you really loving science fiction when we were roommates in college, which is why I devoured this book. I really loved it. Now, it's not science fiction like space opera, people shooting lasers at each other. In fact, it takes place on Earth in the present day. But what we're finding is that there's a hospital, a hospice, for people who've been sick for a really long time. And then slowly, mysteriously, their sicknesses, their illnesses start to go away. And not only that, they start to develop mysterious powers. And they all, one by one, feel drawn to this overgrown park out on the outskirts of town. I think there's probably that's funny, Karen. And in the fountain in the middle of the park, there's a large, an orb that glows mysterious colors when the formerly ill people come. And now the government is out to get these people to find out why they're not sick. Have they cured illness? Have they cured death? Are aliens involved? Interdimensional travelers? I know it sounds a little derivative of Cocoon, but I promise you, completely different tone, completely different ending. Pretty fascinating. I think you'd probably like it. If you're actually reading these letters, would you just send me a postcard? You have my email address. You could just, you just send me a blank email for that matter. Just saying like, hey, I appreciate this. Thanks, man. Anyway, let me tell you about the other book I've been reading. Be Gone, Shadow. I made it worse. Okay. And that other book is a romance. So now I have 4 cards for the romance. If you guys aren't reading the chat to see Karen's awesome suggestions, I highly recommend her game biologist. Have I been doxing you this entire time? I apologize. Hearts. 10 of Hearts is a Kareem. It's probably like a hand, the back of the throat used in Yiddish and Arabic, but I'm going to say Chuhan just to not embarrass myself. Kareem, probably Kareem Chuhan. Okay. And then 3 of Diamonds is a small village rectory on a remote countryside. Okay. Oh, now this definitely feels like a romance to me. Okay. Next is a King of Diamonds. So there's another location. A leafy treehouse in a dense, dark forest. Okay. And then finally, 5 of Spades. And the 5 of Spades is grateful and happy. All right, well, this definitely feels like a good romance right here. Guess I'm not Lady Gaga because this doesn't feel like a bad romance. All right, so a romance with a character named Kareem Chuhan. A small village rectory in a remote countryside is where it takes place. Rectory, if you don't know, is actually it's a church, right? Rectory. Yes, a rector's house. So it's where it's where a clergyman lives. So it's connected to the church. Sorry, Jane Austen, for not knowing that. Karen, you should be doing this live stream. You're doing so much better than I. Okay, so Karen suggests sexy times at a rugged remote church. With an entrance to the land of the Fae in the back, someone's getting swept up in the wild hunt. So the other location is a leafy treehouse in a dense, dark forest. Grateful and happy is the mood. If, by the way, Karen's description here sounds interesting, I highly recommend a novel by Robert Holdstock, Holdstock, called Mythago Wood. He actually had a whole series about them, kind of unconnected sequels. Highly recommend it. Huge influence on me when I was a kiddo. Teenager. Okay, so let's finish out the stream. Let's do one more book. Book 2, Romance, with Kareem, a rectory, a treehouse, grateful and happy. So, well then, Karen, you clearly are plagiarizing in my stream. How dare you? Well, Resto, congratulations, you've done it. This is the last letter I will ever send you. I'm sure you are completely overjoyed to no longer have to put up with the excruciating burden of taking one of my letters out of the mailbox and depositing directly into the trash or fireplace or dumpster or ditch, completely unopened and unread. So have a good life, have a good day. But while I have you, let me tell you about one last book, which is a book called, Karen's Wild Hunt. Kareem's Wild Hunt, which is a romance that takes place in the, 15th century? Sure. In the 15th century during the Dark Ages, or whenever the Dark Ages actually were, if it wasn't the 15th century. And it takes place in a remote countryside of England, as it was called back then. And a missionary shows up. Now, I know what you're thinking. You're thinking a missionary, from the Catholic Church, a priest who shows up. But remember, this is the Dark Ages. The only civilization that was flourishing, of course, were the Moors and the Muslims. And so that is what this is. This is a missionary of Islam come to spread not just religion, but science to the ignorant English people of the remote countryside. He's treated, the people there they're not the smartest of folks. They don't exactly understand that he's a different religion than them, so they assume that he's a priest and put him up in a long abandoned rectory. Needless to say, this being a romance novel, he falls in love with one of the villagers. They have secret meetups, assignations, as it were, in a leafy treehouse in a dense, dark forest right outside of the countryside. Now, obviously, there are a lot of things standing in their way. The fact that he's from a different culture and other prejudices here in this English countryside. Wish I could say that things have changed, but they probably haven't too much. And finally, not a whole lot happens in this book. It's not plot-driven. It's a lovely romance. It's gleeful. It's grateful, even. It's happy. And they slowly learn how to work out all their differences, and the village is on their side. That's not to say it's plot-free. There's not a whole lot going on. It's mostly a celebration of love between two people who could not be further apart, slowly learning to come together. Speaking of two people who could not be further apart, who at least one of us is trying to come together, I've decided to not stop sending you letters, Rosto, because I think it's win-win. Either you like my letters and you're reading my books and enjoying them, in which case that's great, that's all I ever really wanted, or you are annoyed by these letters and constantly aggravated when I send you a new one every other day or so. And so that's win too, because if you don't want to have anything to do with me, I guess I'll just continue to annoy you. So be on the lookout for, I would say this week at least, I don't know, 4 or 5 more letters at least. And so there you go. It's on. They're going to keep on coming. And if you talk to Mom before I do, tell her I love her. Sincerely yours. Well, guys, that was my first ever solo RPG stream. Like I said, you've got about 10 hours to back this. It's from Travis Hill. It's part of a collection called In My Innermost Thoughts. You think I'd have that memorized by now? This was just one of them. There are 5 others that you can get. Super fun. And let me know if you would like to see me doing more solo RPG streams. I think it'd be a fun way to kind of do some game streaming without me having to learn Tabletop Simulator or get into solo gaming. Not that I have anything against solo gaming, but my stream setup doesn't currently allow any table space. I really wish you guys could see this. And I'm going to end the stream on a not at all terrifying or upsetting dry cough. Bye, everybody. Ugh. I don't know how to end this now without... Okay. Bye. I love you.